here and group. There it is. Hey. So if that's your introduction to tattoo culture and you walk in somewhere where specializes in barbed wire and tribal, and that is what they offer and that is what is available there because their higher end artists are booked up and their guys like, yeah, man, we can bust out your grandma's name for you real quick because that's his level of skill, right? So that's how a lot of people unknowing and I don't want to say unwillingly, they're hyped about getting a tattoo. People, that dude with tattoos looks cool. I'm going to go get one. But where they go, their introduction, their smaller town, they're less I don't even like saying that. The different availability of art,
less established,
a less established place or a place with entry level tattooers is where they know to go. So the things that are getting, they're hyped because that's what they know. That's their access. So like, I was very lucky to walk into a shop that did dope fucking tattoos, as opposed to a shop where everybody was like, well, we do barbed wire and we do old English letters real good. And so there's just a different caliber of art. I mean that in the best fucking way.
In the town that I learned to tattoo in and kind of like I immediately came to Columbus once I started getting serious about tattooing. But when I went back up to Marion and set up my own roots, so to speak, there were a handful of artists in town, and with a couple exceptions, they all pretty much emulated and imitated one another. So in Marion, there are, before I was tattooing there and for a couple of other people, there was a theme. Like you could just look around and see the theme of people's tattoos, and it was like a very distinct style of skulls and smoke that
everything had biker and flames behind it.
Everybody had this specific style of skulls and smoke, and it actually came from, I'll talk about him, his name's Todd Pierce, and he was a great tattooer in the 90s, and for what tattooing was capable, for what the equipment allowed you to do, this guy was an animal. Like he could do pinups like crazy. Like he just knocked them out. He still has sheets and sheets and sheets of flash.
Oh, yeah.
But unfortunately, all of the other artists in town have just started doing like a very watered down version of the style that he started. And he shares the tricks and secrets with all of them, but like I said, it's a very watered down version of that. So there's just like a distinctive style that this whole community wears. And then you can see like my work sticks out like a sore thumb when it's like fully saturated and there's not a lot of skin breaks. Not that I'm knocking working with black and gray and having skin breaks, but like my black and gray is very black. There's nothing rushed about it whatsoever. It is like intentional and dark. I mean, I work efficiently, but it's in there. It's dark. It's, and my work kind of tells a story, and there's not usually filler just for the sake of filler. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like usually it's like, well, if I'm going to put you through pain, this is either got to be an interesting color transition or it's going to have to be like interesting, like I don't want it to be just color for the sake of color. Now, that being said, I do tattoo large fields of like gradually changing color because it's soft and beautiful and not the easiest thing to achieve. But I don't know, it's got to be that way in a lot of other smaller communities. In a city as big as Columbus, there have always been different tattooers, different styles.
The example of what the people coming to get tattooed are the things that they see. So when they're out in the street and they see the tattoo from the other local shop, and I mean, we're probably talking before people snap photos on their phone.
Yeah, I'm talking like 90s.
But then they started. So then they go into the
2000s.
shop and they're like, no, like this kind of smoke. And then the other artist automatically, I know
Google.
This is what you want, right? And they're like, yes, I want the same thing, because that's what they thought was cool, because that was their introduction. So if you're in a town that they don't even do fucking cool smoke, what they think is cool is surfer wave armbands and block letters. And do you see what I'm saying? And then you see tattoos and you're like, yeah, that's cool. I like tattoos. but this is the style that look at the mumble rapper phase of tattooing. Right? It's still around. I'm not gonna say it. This is graffiti desk style tattoos, right? Like this is scratch on your fucking face, arms, all over your body. I'm not saying they all have shit work, but 98.9% of them, it's garbage.
Oh, Ben, you're gonna hurt someone's feelings.
Cry. So when you've got a tattoo that looks like my 7-year, I don't even have a 7-year-old, but my 5-year-old can scratch it out on the fucking marker pad, and you decided to put it across your chest, I don't understand why you weren't looking at the other available options.
You know what I've always thought was crazy about the Island Boys? I hate to bring these guys up again, but they kind of consumed
The
all
fuck
of
you got
my
a Batman
social media.
symbol on your forehead for it?
Well, first of all, they're always bragging about their bling, the diamonds in their grill, this, that,
And
and the
you
third.
got-
And then look at their tattoos.
Tattoos.
Doing their tattoos, but like if you've got that money, like why not spend it on like a real lifelong investment?
Right.
You're not gonna have that watch forever. You're not gonna have that grill forever. You're not gonna have those cars forever.
Because
Like,
they needed the
You're not gonna have
tattoos
that
now.
designer belt forever.
And they went out and got tattoos at the budget they had.
One designer belt probably could pay for an entire sleeve
Yeah, but
from somebody good,
they had all those shitty tattoos when they started, is my point.
but they've just gotten more and they're just
They've
getting
just
worse.
gotten more.
Like they're
that's
just getting
because-
more colored, but it's not better.
Again, because that is the cultural norm
Oh, it
for
didn't
what
fall in.
they like, because that's what everybody around them has.
Give me a
No,
little piece of fuzz. I thought it was
I
trying
s-
to
I
go in
s-
my
I
water
saw
bottle.
it land. No, I don't want a full color saturation. I want you to put a tic-tac-toe board on my neck, because I
On your
saw
neck?
this guy that had a checkerboard and I thought that was cool. So I'm doing a checkerboard.
So you're
So-
doing a tic-tac-toe board.
Do you see
I
what I'm
like
saying?
it.
Do you see what I'm saying?
like it.
Like that's how that evolves. And it's like they're oh, I'm gonna one up your already shit tattoo and make it like, and I feel like we just there for a while started
It's just like if you could do anything at all, why would you waste your real estate with that? Like, I'm not saying don't get tattooed. I'm just saying like, you're gonna get tattooed.
I feel that way about some blackout work too.
I do love blackout work though.
Some of it's soft, silky, and gorgeous. Some of it looks obstructive.
Mhm.
And again, art is subjective. And if you like it and that makes you happy, I'm happy it makes you happy. But me personally, I don't understand the tree branch of black across your face or arm or neck or
I don't know, it's tempting. Would it be crazy if I went from 0 tattoos on this arm
Just
to just a straight
velvety
blackout?
blacked out. Yeah, I think you would still put something over top of it. I think you come back with something white on top. Like I don't think you'd say just blacked out.
Hmm.
And most of the time,
Call it my sunblock.
I see blackout sleeves and I'm like, how shitty were they? You know what I mean? Just like, how shitty were they? And there's even just solid black, there's good blackout work. But like the majority of it,
You know, one of the things I like about good quality blackout work is like how it's like either how it's like terminated at the bottom of the sleeve, like how it resolves,
Right.
or when there's actually like design and flow cutting through it, where it's huge swaths of beautifully smooth black, and then breaths of open skin. Like whether there's tattoos that peek out or whether it's unadulterated skin altogether. There's just something about such big bold lines and like going to that it's not even extreme anymore. And like honestly, like the time it takes to get quality blackout work is actually faster than to get quality color work. Like, I don't know, it's just a different kind of statement. It's a different kind of confidence. Especially if it's not cover up blackout work, where it's like the deliberate, like, oh no, like I wanna
like the full
mostly black
bodysuit.
torso.
Yeah, the full bodysuit stuff that's just like heavy black, heavy geometric. That's different. That's design and intent. I'm talking about you dropped ink on my face or chest or arm and filled that in. Do you know what I mean? Like that's like, do you know what I'm talking about? Like the style?
Yes.
Okay.
This actually reminds me of a story one time. My buddy Sam, he's gone through a couple of career changes over his years, but he was doing an apprenticeship with me for a while, and one night after I was working and we were just chilling, I had like something playing on Netflix and just like doing art stuff. He's like, how do you make a splatter? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, how do you make a splatter? He shows me like a trash polka piece. It was super big at the time. And it like had this black splatter, like you're talking about, like through the middle of this home, like leg sleep, but it was one huge splatter. I was like, you make a splatter. He's like, yeah, but how do you make a splatter? I was like, I don't know how to say it another way, but like you make a splatter. He was like,
Take ink.
but he just kept saying, but how? So finally I had this roll of like craft paper, parchment paper or something like that. And I rolled it out across the floor and I took some ink and I like put it in a cup and I put like 3 colors in there and I dipped my fingers in it and I flung it. And I was like, you make a splatter. And he was like, oh, you make a splatter. I was like, I don't know other words.
Oh,
but, like, you
Senior
just make
Campbell.
a splatter. And then I showed him how you could either take that and make a stencil right off that, or you can take a picture of it and then manipulate it, stretch it, add splatters, change splatters, things like that. But like, what do you mean? How do you make a splatter? You make a splatter,
Right, bruh.
but how?
With your
Anything,
medium,
Whatever you want. I don't, you're a boy, like you gotta know, like boys are
have
messy
you never
children.
thrown
And, like,
paint?
yeah, like you had to have thrown mud, you had to like, how do you make a splatter? Like,
I was always a
Make
big
a splatter.
fan of using the toothbrush to fling and make like snow
Mhm.
or like
yeah,
had a-
that fine mist.
I had a bicycle,
Mhm.
bicycle that I took a toothbrush and flaked. I think it was green
Nice.
paint over the whole thing because trying to be cool.
Gotta be artistic with it.
It was pretty badass.
I mean, it sounds like
It only took like 3 weeks for it to get solid. It was great. That's how you knew your shit was rad. Nah, man, I didn't even have it a week. Somebody ganked it.
Oh man, throwed it off a cliff.
Just somebody stole the shit out of that.
Oh man.
We had a dirt track, so bikes were hot commodities. People would take them home, spray paint them. You'd see your bike at the track the next day, fucking spray painted a different color, and you're like,
So
"Hey, bud."
I worked at a bike shop
Mhm,
on and
mhm,
off
mhm.
for 5 or 6 years. So this is how I got to know a lot of the local police really well, in combination with working at the sign shop. I got to know a lot of people around town there too. But it was so common and regular that the police would stop in and they just need like the serial number that we had on file for so-and-so's kid's bike.
Great.
Or word to the wise, if you want to buy your kids nice bicycles, most like quality like bike dealerships keep all that stuff on file so it can be tracked and things like that. But anyways, that being said, I've always been so paranoid about my bicycles that I don't leave them outside.
Right.
Like,
Oh, ours were
on the
locked in the
porch.
garage.
yeah,
Like, still.
I mean, my bicycles now,
Or you'd go to the store and you'd run in the store and you'd come out and they'd be gone. You're gone for 13 seconds.
and it's so weird, like, I don't know, you could look at a bicycle and like, I was just looking at used bicycles over the weekend or over the last few days. And like you can look at a bike and it's a bicycle point A to point B, just like a car, but like if you have an eye for it, you can look at a wheel and know that that's a $600 or $700 or $800
Great.
wheel,
great.
just the wheel, not counting the like $150 tire
It
that's
was-
wrapped
It
around
was
it.
always BMX
So,
and
like-
dirt track for me.
Well, and the
Same,
same
but
thing
same,
with
yeah.
BMX bikes, like some of those like double and triple walled wheels for jumping and like doing big stunts with, those are not cheap. Like those bikes are highly engineered and very expensive.
Do you
And
remember
when
the
you've got an eye
rims?
for them, they are hot.
Right. Oh yeah. Do you remember the Australian rims that you could take and put in the freezer and they would reform? So you could annihilate these things and they'd ride great. But like you take them off jumps all day,
Just get them cold and they
They get
retrue
wobbly.
themselves.
stick them in the freezer
Nice.
and they shored back up. They were
Huh.
expansive, but amazing. But just like you're saying, we had a local bike shop that was like, y'all want to race? Like, here's the shit to do it with. And he got us all like little sponsorships, so we got money off of parts and stuff like that. Like he was rad about it. But
And there's nothing that makes a kid feel cooler and like other kids think they're cooler than to be like, yeah, so and so sponsored by blah blah.
oh
blah."
yeah. We were all sponsored by Schwinn. None of us rode Schwinn's, but we were sponsored by Schwinn.
Yeah.
That's what in the shop.
Yeah,
Like,
as kids, it seems so
We were
cool
so
just
rad.
to say you were on like a protein
This
or
dude was-
whatever it is.
we raced the one track. We never went anywhere. Like this dude raked in cash from us though. So, but Whitehall had such a bad, the town we grew up in had such a bad bicycle stealing problem that the cops literally made a vehicle registry essentially for bicycles.
Mhm.
So you would go down to the police station and they would give you a tag,
That's something you can do in a lot of
like a metal
communities.
tag that you put on or under your seat or on the post of your frame of your bike. And then they took pictures of it and wrote their serial numbers down, and it was like registered with. So if your bike got stolen, they had pictures, serial numbers, the tag, description. Happened a lot.
All the things, but it's amazing how many, I mean, of course, they don't recover all bikes, but it's
Yeah.
amazing how many they do. And the thing is, especially if it's like a kid that took it off another kid's porch, when the police knock on the door and they're like,
Right.
yeah, that was a $800 haro. That's
Yeah.
grand theft. The parents are real quick to be like, oh,
Uh-huh.
let me double check.
Uh-huh.
And that, would be
Yep.
recovered right then.
That
no
bike
big
you
deal.
said you found. Did you really find it? It's a really nice bike. Did you just find it? Did you find it with a chain wrapped around it that you cut with a hacksaw?
Tell the truth now, son.
Yeah. The good old days.
Good old days.
So, you got any travel plans coming up?
So this weekend I am headed down to Dallas to check out the Tattoo Collectors Expo.
Like Texas?
Yeah. I'm getting on a little jet plane. I'll be down there Saturday morning by like 9. I don't even have to leave super early. It's pretty awesome
Fuck yeah.
travel arrangements.
Well,
So glad that the Columbus airport is easy to travel from. You know what I mean?
it goes
Like,
everywhere.
everything connects here, but like it's not super busy like O'Hare or Georgia or Atlanta or
It takes you to all the major connectors though.
Mhm.
The hard part is finding the midway flights. the second legs.
Yep, so I'm gonna have the handheld with me. I'm gonna actually try and get some probably a little bit more footage than usual because it's kind of out of our Midwest circuit that we're usually in.
Yeah, soak up some different
So-
scene.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of the, we've seen the Bill and Art shows in the Midwest that we go to and I've gotten footage at. The Pittsburgh show, Detroit, Indy, these are all Midwest. I haven't even really gotten to cover a lot of East Coast shows, but we will. We'll have the Paradise
gotta-
Show and the Highlight.
We got another local independent show coming up too, don't we? A non-Villain Arts, a non-circuit show.
With,
Isn't that in Akron?
oh. uh, Rubber City.
Rubber City. There it is.
That's the one. That's
We
the
went
one
there
I've been
last year, didn't we?
looking for. Mhm. I'm gonna try to make it out this year for at least a day. I don't know. I'm definitely not gonna be there all weekend. I've stacked too many things this summer.
Yeah. Well, we went out pretty hard last year. Last year we ended up having a double booth and having an area to be able to live podcast from, and they recorded another show out of there. It was a lot of fun.
They had the Tattoo Machine Olympics. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was fun to cover.
And we got to go hiking. We got to see your favorite waterfall last time.
Did get to share my favorite waterfalls. I
do-
love the Cuyahoga Valley area. If you do go to the River City Tattoo Expo,
This is a strong show.
definitely gotta take a little detour. What was it? 25-30 minute drive?
Oh yeah.
It
Not
wasn't
even
far.
that. Not even that.
I know you guys thought I was dragging you all the way into the wilderness, but it was worth it.
It was a blast. I thoroughly enjoyed it. This was a very, very, very solid show. Very well ran. This is Tony Urbanic, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he's
Way to remember, Ben.
haha. I felt like I knew what I was talking about there for half a second. It looks like he's got a killer lineup again this year, so. Hey, we know that
Oh,
guy.
there's Chris Taylor.
We know that guy.
Oh, man, Chris is gonna be there.
Yeah, we gotta pop in at least for a
Gotta
minute.
pop in at least for a day. That's Sunday, so. I asked Ben to be my guest for a friend's wedding, so I had to reschedule an appointment from that day to Sunday of River City. So it'll probably be just Friday and Saturday or just Saturday, but I definitely would love to make it up for a day.
Gotcha. I know that there's a couple people already talking about making travel plans. We might want to just group it up and pick a day.
Load up Fandango.
You know, I'm driving. Like, you know, I'm driving.
You wanna drive Fandango?
I wouldn't be opposed, but I prefer to be in charge of the vehicle that I am in. You are the safest and I will ride with you anywhere. But once we are in a group, I want to be in charge of the vehicle. Even if like, yep, I get real nervous real fast.
Hmm.
It's the other people, not
That's
the,
fair.
yeah.
That's
Mhm.
all fair.
That
So,
and I always like having my own bailout plan.
I was just having this conversation.
I'm fat. Sometimes shit hits me weird.
It is a little bit of what, like when I travel places, sometimes it's a flip of the coin, whether it's more convenient to drive or fly, but there's always the factor of like, if I just want to go for a drive, I can go for a drive. I don't have to,
I can be super, super social awkward in big crowds. Big
but a
crowds
vehicle's
still
always
kind of work me
like
out.
a safe, your safe space bubble.
Well,
you
more
know?
of if I get to a show and I am feeling overwhelmed and compressed and in a crowd and I don't have that escape and I'm with the group, I don't have an out. Do you know what I mean? Like I know we all take breaks and we go outside, but then I'm right back into that environment. And sometimes it's too much for me to handle. Especially if I'm, I don't know, in a mood. But so that is 99% of the reason why I drive myself to the majority of events that are out in public, because sometimes I'm like, I got to go. Love y'all, but I can't. This room is hurting my brain.
Too full.
Yep.
Too many, too
Yep.
much.
Mhm.
That's fair.
So I'd love to figure that out, but I definitely would only probably go for a day. Especially if it's a weekend, I might have to bring the spawn.
The weekend before the Akron show, I should give our viewers, our listeners, the must-see waterfall list. They observe with B, so it's really easy to remember. If you just like look up the B waterfalls, you'll find them.
Run it,
Run it,
run it.
Buttermilk, Blue Hen. Oh man, Bridal Veil. And what is the one?
Bob's.
It's the big one. It's the big one.
Bull Run.
No, not that one. That's another one. Man, it's the biggest one. It's got a boardwalk that wraps all the way around it.
At the boardwalk. Are you sure it's not the boardwalk?
No, it's not the boardwalk.
Well, fees. I
I'm gonna
mean,
start looking it up and I'm gonna be like, duh.
Oh, the winner at the Akron show, which got very, very low mention last year, was the place across the street, the coffee shop across the street that I can't remember the name of right now, that served a scoop of the creamiest vanilla ice cream I've ever had in my GD life, with a shot of hot espresso on top of it, just in a little espresso cup. It was like little baby Jesus came down from heaven and handed me just enough cool snack to be satisfied, but with more caffeine than my body needed, which is exactly what I need. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's perfect.
I can't find the waterfall right now. I'm having too much of a brain fart.
Well, there's a bunch of waterfalls out there.
There are.
Go check them out. Oh, our screen's frozen and I look weird.
It's okay. It happens sometimes.
Well, I know it'll bounce back. It just makes me laugh sometimes.
Brandy wine.
Brandy
Brandy
wine.
wine. It's the big one.
Wait, what's the cherry cola? Snyder wine? Yeah.
I don't know. Brandy
no,
wine is the one that I
Brandy wine.
forgot.
What's the
Brandy
cherry-
wine falls.
what's the cherry
Brandy
cola?
wine, buttermilk, Blue Hen, Bridal Veil. What?
What's the goddamn cherry soda from down south?
I don't know.
Something wine, cherry wine? Anyway, sorry, you made my brain go off on that.
I don't know. Brandy wine, cherry wine. I wonder if just our picture's frozen or if our sound is frozen also.
Well, I mean, for those of you that don't wonder why we're stopping.
We've
it's
had a few
because-
technical difficulties, but we've
Yes.
been sailing right through them today.
Yeah, well, I was just hoping it'd bounce back here in a minute.
Do, 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 do.
Tattoo collecting.
Dun, dun,
Dup,
dun,
dup,
dun.
dup, 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 dup. Dup, dup. Nope. Nope, nothing to fix. We got shruggy shoulders. Well,
Hmm,
am I frozen there too? Or just on our screen?
pull the HDMI out and plug it back in. Mhm. You did, and it didn't change anything? Well. Huh,
Is it just our monitor that's froze? Or is our whole screen froze?
no.
Is our
there's a
feed
signal-
froze?
There's a signal weirdness somewhere.
So we're not,
Do we just keep talking while we're frozen?
I mean, I don't care. Is it broadcasting out what we're saying?
Yeah, our sound's going out just fine.
Just not our picture.
Yeah, what if we just keep talking and Kyle, if you want to just restart the YOLO box? Maybe that's what it needs. it's just a
So
reboot?
for those of you that are wondering what the fuck is going on, we're having a technical difficulty with our video feed.
So with electronics, there's this thing that you should do sometimes. Shut them off.
Yeah,
And I'm guilty of just leaving them on, like they go into sleep mode, but honestly, when some of these things, they've got so much programming built in that you've got to power them down and back up every now and then to just like reboot the cookies or clear the
Right.
cookies or whatever. Like once you have so many functions and commands, it has all of that memory built up and then things just get slower. But anyways, long story short, like take a moment, power down your electronics.
meh.
I know.
Oh,
I'm
sure.
I'm guilty of it too. Like, it's just things. The nice thing
So,
about being live, our viewers or listeners get to like experience the hiccups and headaches. Remember when I used to get super frustrated and like melt down when the electronics weren't working and now I'm like, Kyle's got it. We'll
well,
figure it out or we won't.
yeah, it used to be a
Sounds
show
good.
stopper. We would literally, okay, let's focus on this until we're done. We've pretty much just taken the mindset of we don't know what's going out.
Oh, there we go.
So we just keep going. I remember we've paused before and what we were seeing was different than what was broadcasting. So it was like it was only wrong on our end.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I've just kind of been like, oh, just keep fucking talking.
Yeah.
I guess. Well, I guess we're back. Hi, people that were watching.
Hey guys, we're still here.
We're here.
Yeah, I hope you got to enjoy
Um,
us again.
So we've covered the conventions that are coming up. We talked a little bit about tattoo today. Did you want to dive into that a little bit more?
Well. There's a few things we can talk about.
Hit me.
So I haven't been tattooed in a while, so I thought it would be kind of cool to talk about things that you kind of need to do going into, not that today's gonna be a marathon session or anything, but like when you're going into a tattoo session, ideally, what do you do to prepare like mentally and physically? I mean, I guess that's two different questions.
Me personally?
Yeah,
so
what do you
first-
do personally? And then I guess at the same time, what is your advice? So I guess.
I guess my advice would still be what I do personally, because that's what works for me. But every single person is different. And I think if you stick to the highlights of things that are important, everybody's routine is going to be a little variant of that or added to that. I think the base of it is prepare your body. You want to make sure you're hydrated, which starts before the day of your tattoo. You want to make sure day of tattoo, you've eaten. You're full stomached, you're carbed, you're loaded up, ready to experience the mental dopamine drops and pain, and because it's not excruciating pain, it's just on and off and continual. If you're talking about anything that's more than an hour or so, your body is responding to that signal of being opened up. So your body is electronically and physically releasing chemicals because it is noticing your hurt. So regardless if it's a non-invasive light-handed tattoo, your body is still responding to the trauma. I don't want to say that you're getting opened up, but like your skin is being opened and your body's like, oh fuck, that's a wound. So you still need to be prepared for your body to take that journey. There's not a like less or more type situation with that in my mind. My worst tattoo experiences have been when my body hasn't been prepared. When I was dehydrated, when I wasn't mentally prepared, when I wasn't full, because then your body doesn't have the nutrients that it needs to go through all those changes. You're uncomfortable. I like to prep my own skin before I go in. I feel like it gives my skin a chance to bounce back a little bit. So if I don't,
So when you say prep, you just like lotion, exfoliate, like do the
I actually,
things.
especially when we're working in a we'll call it a heavily wooded area, an area that is more hairy. I like to do a base shave even. I'm not going to say that you need to go in and get skin tight, but like I like to knock down some of the trees in the forest. So I know that the person coming in with their single razor Bic isn't going to open my skin up to have more trauma.
I use a double blade with a tiny lotion strip,
You know what I mean? Though, bro?
biodegradable.
You know what I mean, though, bro? I can lotion in the shower.
I actually don't know if there's a lotion strip. There might not be. I might be making that up.
I prefer to use my shaving cream. I prefer to lotion my skin after that to give it a chance to bounce back from that tight shave. I'm not expecting you to not go back in and then touch up or things along those lines, but I think having, for me personally, that time for my skin to adjust back to not being open after being shaved has a big difference on how I take the tattoo.
So to jump in and kind of rip off of that, one of the things I love as a tattooer is when my clients take, like if I working on a guy with a more coarse arm hair or body hair, and he just takes clippers over it.
Mhm.
Or when guys take clippers over their chest and they just make it short for me, then I can just go in
Actually,
and
just shave it.
that makes life a lot easier. I honestly, if it's not an area that you shave all the time, don't take a razor right to it. Cause then like inevitably clients will nick themselves right here on this little wrist bone, or they'll get their elbow really good, or they'll get like an area where like there was a fold of skin and they slice it right open. Now I can't tattoo that area.
Right.
Like it would have just been, it would have been better to leave it be or let me do it. So if you don't normally shave that area, don't worry about shaving it, but if you happen to have clippers and want to clip the hair a little shorter, that's probably the most helpful thing.
Growing up a swimmer, ain't much I ain't shaved.
Well,
So like I feel like me personally, and that's why again I say personally, and that's solid. Guys, don't shave your legs if you've never tried
if
to
you
shave
haven't
your leg.
shaved your ankle
You'll nick
before,
your shin
you
and
don't
you'll
realize that you might bleed to
you'll
death.
bleed out. Like I mean it. Like I've watched dudes cut their shins open, but like regardless.
You get the like good peel of the skin.
well,
and the
sorry,
skin
stop,
goes right
stop,
through
stop.
the
I'm gonna puke.
razor.
I will puke on you.
You've seen it.
Ugh.
I've seen it.
I've seen it. I've done it. But then when I am done prepping my skin, I'll get out and I'll take a butter of some sort, a Shea, a Wicked Fast, a R brand, something, and pack my skin and rub in that. And I'm not talking you do this right before you walk in the door. That's your morning routine, and then let your skin recuperate during the day. Go get your tattoo the next night or even the day before. Prepare that area. So I like the time for my skin to have that little bit of bounce back. I feel like I heal after the tattoo better that way. But again, we're talking me personally. But most of the time, like understanding that you're gonna have a experience mentally and physically before you get there, and having the being in a good mood makes a big difference. I know that's dumb,
Oh
but
man, it does it
when
ever.
you're already pissy, when something is annoying, hurting you, it's not an immense pain, but your
Just don't
tolerance
tolerate it.
is gone.
I call it over it. you're over it
Oh.
before it even starts.
Oh,
Or like normally you've got hours of stamina, but some days,
I've said it before. I went into a back tattoo session and it was a bad work day, and was pissy when I got there, tried to calm down. We smoked before we got going. And like he was 45 minutes in to what was supposed to be an overhaul, you know what I mean? Like a long day. And I was like, dude, I'm fucking done. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I am not mentally here to deal with the annoyance of being tattooed right now. It's annoying.
Mhm.
I'm not going to sit here and say it's excruciating pain every time you get tattooed, but it's annoying no matter what. So being mentally prepared to deal with that continual annoyance is huge. So on tattoo days, I try to do low annoyance things. I eat happy. I eat at my favorite places. I generally like to hang out with people I like that day. You know what I mean? Like, especially when you and I tattoo, a lot of times we'll grab lunch that day. I got the honor and privilege of taking my kid out today and we did some outdoor fun stuff. So I really like to mental check. I think it's just as important as body check, because if you're not ready to be annoyed, it's just like walking into somebody's house that has a screaming kid. You love that kid, you know that kid, but you walk in and you're like, Jesus, what is going on? Your sensories aren't ready for that, I feel the same way about mentally prepared for being a tattoo. Like, if
that's a
you're-
super good way to describe it. I never thought of it like that, but that's actually like a wonderful comparison. It's like, like I like to think of it like when you're happy, it's a lot more easy to be like from a position of gratitude for what you're getting into.
Right.
Where like if you're already upset, if you're already angry, if you're sad, even
Hot water
like,
boils faster.
I know some people like to get tattooed when they're stressed out, but I do not. I'm with you. I like to be like it from like I said, from a place of gratitude. And if I'm happy, I can come at it from a place of gratitude. And even though it hurts, I'm over it, it sucks, I can still be grateful to be in that position. But when I'm like,
I've had the you need to fucking sit through this tattoos too. No, stop. Sit.
Yeah.
Stop. Breathe.
calm down,
You're fine.
I know it sucks.
Those sessions mentally are just as important as the easy breezy lappy sessions, because that's the mental fortitude we talk about.
Yep.
That's I recognize the pain you went through in the homie at random location that you don't know, but that's what puts us all here.
Yeah.
Not half done tattoos.
Yeah, when you're irritated and you've had a bad day and you want to get up off the table, but you already flew or drove or whatever, and you don't
Gotta
have the
do it.
choice, it just sucks a
gotta do
whole
it.
lot more.
I was very
It
fortunate
does.
that day that the person working on me was an extremely good friend, and we had a halfway into the progress local homie situation. Because if that, like you said, if I would have drove to Georgia for that tattoo and not been mentally ready and been mad at Georgia traffic, and you know what I mean? Like, that's a different experience mentally. So just like everything in life, a spoonful of sugar, everything. It's easy to listen to your kid screaming. Your kid brings you joy.
Well, even like if it is your kid, sometimes you don't want to hear them.
For sure. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, when something makes you happy, it's easier to tolerate.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You take the most abuse from the people you love.
That's true.
Ba-dum-bum. Anyway, so yeah, I think the mental side is just as good as the physical side, and then like day of making sure you're comfy, making sure you've got on your I have a, for the area we're working in, a specific pair of underwear, a set of underwear that I like to wear to make sure that the rest of the world doesn't need to see me exposed, but leaves the rest of the area exposed. If you're working in an area that is something you don't want everybody in the shop to see,
Two reasons for
bring
this.
a modest
Well, I was
claw.
gonna say one is for modesty, but the other is like make sure they're comfortable.
Right.
Like whatever underwear you're wearing, whatever clothes you're wearing, make sure it's all comfortable.
And willing
Like
to get
it could
ink
be
on.
pajama day. Yeah.
Willing to get ink on. I'm wearing the softest, oldest sweatpants style shorts that, that if they get a little bummed up, I'm not going to be pissed. I'm not in my Louis. Not that I own any,
But if
but
you did,
you know, same theory.
maybe we make that the new trend, ink splattered Louis.
Only if you're buying it.
How do you make the splatter, Ben?
I'll splatter it if you buy it.
I'm not buying it.
I remember driving back to the shop with brand new $130,000 sprinters. And first thing we did was drill fucking holes in them. It was the most what's the right word? It was so satisfying, but not for that reason. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
to buy something brand new. I put the 7 miles that are on it, driving it back. And the first thing I did was drill holes in it. It was
when
very,
it's all you believed in.
it did. I didn't,
Scratched it.
yeah, I did. But it was cool. But like coming comfy's a big deal. I bring a pillow. I bring one of my camp pillows because it's small and kind of intrusive and fits on the top of a chair pretty well. But if you want a comfy blanket, if you know that you generally run cold and the studio that you went to have your consultation is where you're getting tattooed and you were chilly while you were there, chances are when you're removing articles of clothing to receive a tattoo, you're probably going to be a little bit cooler than you were when you were sitting there. So I know that I like to bring a blanket, especially in the wintertime. It's just handy, makes you feel loved. If you can wear a big hoodie, I enjoy that too, just because it regulates your body temperature a little bit. It keeps your core warm. So if you run cold, dressing appropriately, or bringing a blanket or something like that. Bring snacks. I brought snacks. I
I
brought
feel like Red
food.
Tree is always cold. I'm wearing jeans today. I have to dress for the air conditioning.
See, I'm fat. I run hot, so I wasn't worried about being cold today.
Dress for the AC.
But if that's like I said, it's specific to a person. Me, I'm always hot, so I make sure I wore something that I'm not afraid to take off or get ruined or
Anything you bring though, like if you are bringing a blanket or a pillow, try to make sure they're clean or at least
oh,
like free of pet
absolutely.
hair.
Don't bring your couch blanket that your dog cuddles up with you to take naps in, because now you've got hair in your open tattoo
Honestly, sometimes
or
like,
all over Fawn Station.
all over it happens, and I've got animals too. But you could hit like a dollar store on your way in and get like a little $5 throw, and that would be enough to either ball up and use as a pillow, or you could cover you. Like you're getting your leg worked on. Say we're working high hip, you could cover your lower leg so your foot's not
Right.
freezing. Like
Well,
having a little throw is wonderful. A
Yeah.
throw and or a hoodie and or a pillow or stuffed animal or
whatever
squishable or whatever you want to
makes
call it.
you comfortable. A lot of people just like having it as a modesty cloth, like something to, if you do have to remove more clothing than you normally would in public and you're not as comfortable or as familiar with everyone in the shop as you are with your artist.
I've talked about my specific tattoo blanket before.
Mhm.
So this blanket is pretty handy and I always take it to sessions with me whenever I'm traveling and I do need it for modesty purposes or if I'm getting worked on at a convention. It's got two different prints on it. One side is like one flowery paisley, the other side is a different flowery paisley, but I keep one facing me, so it's contaminated with all of my blood and guts on the
Smart.
inside, and then
Smart.
I'm mindful to fold the outside on itself so that like if I bump into people in the crowd, the outside has always been the outside and the same side has been against me the whole time. So that's kind of like a next level piece of advice is if you happen to have a blanket that is different sides and you can keep track of which side has brushed against you while you're,
Be mindful
tattooed.
of your goo.
yeah. Yeah, and then at the same time, you don't want some other sweaty, just tattooed guy at a convention to bump into your blanket
Yeah.
and then you to curl up and put your face into that or put that on your tattoo later on.
I would say that if I'm getting tattooed at a convention, my mindset is completely different than I have to be okay, so for me to be tattooed at a convention, it's another ballgame. I need to bring distractions. I need to bring things I'll bring sunglasses, so I'm not trying to track the crowd the whole time. I will bring ear plugs to drown out the white, like the convention noise. I'll put on my glasses just to not talk to people. Because I need to be able to recenter sometimes. Like most of my tattoos aren't easy spots anymore. And if I'm doing that in public, like I don't really want to
Your
be
back
engaging.
tattoo in New York was a traumatizing experience altogether, wasn't it? Just
More
'cause you
more
were
my
so
leg.
tired and-
More my leg. Yeah,
Yeah.
More my leg. The recovery from the back tattoo in New York was pretty bad, but more my leg. When we did my leg at Hell City, it was an all day event. And it was
Which piece are you talking about?
I have a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde piece
Okay.
on my outside thigh. That Rich Cook did, and we did the majority of it at the first Hell City I ever went to. I actually worked at the next one. You know what I mean? But it was in a very busy section. Local homie knew everybody. That was actually the first time I met Marty Holcomb too.
Nice.
Because every 13th person that walked by, hey Rich, how's it going, man? Hey, what's up, homie? You gotta talk. I'm not, I'm not mad at him. I would want to say hi to my friend too. I'm not like, but as a collector, that's a different level of patience and understanding and pain and exposure. And I gotta come a little different prepared. I come a lot heavier medicated. I bring a lot more edibles. I bring things that I can consume during the convention because there's not going to be a smoke break. My level of stoniness needs to be pretty high to be dealing with that level of public anyway. So like, it's not my fave. I'm spoiled. I like being able to come up to the private room at the private studio. The doorbell doesn't ring, and going into my bubble, and we can watch a TV show and laugh and bond and have a good time. It's not the same experience in a room that busy.
Oh, that's fair. It's one of the reasons I don't often work at tattoo conventions. I attend them often. I help in the True Tubes area often. But I don't often actually tattoo at them. But when I do, I like it to be rather than pulling in new clients in the area. If I have a client that's down to travel, like Jen travels and Brian travels,
Right.
it's kind of nice because Derb and I can work in tandem, and we've traveled together so many times.
Yeah.
We're all very comfortable with one another.
And they're just cool
But-
people.
But I like if I work at Hell City, I usually work on my little sister and my friend Allison, because they're homies, and if we get a lot of progress done, it's cool. But also if I get distracted and I have to go help with this project, there's not this whole day of work that they're expecting. If we can get that done, awesome. But they like being at the show, they like experiencing it. And for me, it just takes the pressure off when it's just a day of hanging out with the homie. And if we get a little bit of progress, awesome. But if I get busy with something else, it's also not the end of the world. Have fun at the show. I'll see you in 45 minutes.
Well, that was kind of the next point was I've never had the experience. I'm good on that. Thank you. There. I've never had the experience of traveling specifically to meet an out of town artist at a show to get a tattoo from that person. So Fawn and I have never met. You're traveling from, I live in Nevada and you live here. I'm coming to Hell City to get tattooed by you. I've never had that experience. The commitment level and mental fortitude for that is a different fucking level. You're already stressed from travel. You're not eating your regular locations. You're not bringing a meal from home. You're eating at, oh my God, I think we're going to stop by this. What is this? This is the Greek Euro plus. Okay. That's the food we found. You don't always have your best options. You're in a crowd. You're at I don't want to stray a stranger because you obviously set this appointment up, but there's so much bond in the experience now. That cold contact in a busy room like that would put me so much out of my comfort zone.
But imagine wanting a specific artist so bad, and they just happen to be in this city, and they happen to have an opening in that city, and you're like, I'll be there tomorrow.
Right.
Oh, it's Friday and your tomorrow canceled. Overnight flight. I'm there. Those things happen. And I don't
And
know.
you find people out there that keep that alive are the fucking heroes. High fives to all you, because your cojones are larger than mine in the proverbial sense.
Who's your favorite tattooer that you don't know? If you just pick a name that if you saw them, you'd be like, oh, yeah, that's
See
so and
the
so.
person that I admire the most. I've never seen their face. I've only seen their word. I wouldn't know them in a crowd.
Oh, well, that's irrelevant.
I don't, I've
What,
never,
what would, if
I-
you had the opportunity to have that person work on you, would you meet them at a convention?
no.
Oh.
No,
Okay.
that is not how I would prefer to do that interaction.
Okay, well,
I would, if I had to travel to get a tattoo, I want to come to your shop.
okay, that's fair.
I would rather feel your full experience and have that level of interaction in comparison to, hi, I'm such and such. I'm here to represent myself. And I mean that in the most loving fucking way. You are there to sell your services. So yeah, I'm just the paper's killing me. You're there to show what you do, show your style, sell your services. So that's the point of a convention. And if I get it, some people are there to win awards. Everybody's there for a different reason. But at the end of it, it's a marketing platform.
Basically,
So,
yeah,
like,
networking
networking.
and marketing. Yes, absolutely. That's
So like,
the point.
we
We call it family reunion, but if you want to be technical,
I-
networking and marketing.
I just meant as like as a overarching for everyone there.
Yeah.
That is the one thing everyone is there for. As a collector, I'd rather your focus be relaxed, cool tattoo than first I am trying to market. I am also stressed. I have also traveled. I'm not saying sweet tattoos don't happen every goddamn day, but I would rather my artist be like, bro, I just came in from eating a fucking poke bowl. Then I smoked a poke bowl and now I'm in my zen. I'm happy to be here. This is a cool fucking tattoo. And I want to be in that same mood. I don't want to be in the panic travel rush mode. I want to be in with my people. Because like life's too short to be stressed. And I'm kind of overdoing things that make me go.
I like
which
it.
is a lot of stuff. So
Well, I mean, I guess that makes sense.
I'm old. Is that
cool.
is that is that
No,
how we
no,
officially
this is-
define that?
No, this is a wonderful opinion because it is different getting tattooed at a convention. When I had the opportunity to have Jesse Levitt work on my head, I
Mhm.
just happened to be getting worked on by Adam and Durb walks through the old Red Tree location. And he's like, Jesse just confirmed, like, just because he happened to open the email and say aloud, Jesse just confirmed. And I was like, Jesse Levitt? He's like, yep. I was like, sweet. So I emailed him right then. There's no way that like, if that post would have hit Instagram, I would not
You'd have been
have
too
been
late.
one of the hundreds of, you
Right,
know, likes and responses to it, but and just having that little gem of like, hey,
right, right.
I would love for you to do this for me. So in that situation, he was coming to Columbus. I wasn't, you know, I think he was in New York at the time, out east somewhere. You know, I wanted to be like, wanted to get work done there.
Right,
So,
right.
and it's funny because now people are like, oh, you're the girl that got her head done at Hell City. I heard that for a few years.
Yeah.
I think there have been a lot of other head tattoos since then, but at that time, there were not as many.
Well, let's just we recognize a certain collector by her tattoo that we don't even see every year at Hell City.
It's true.
It used to be earlier too, and when less people were heavily tattooed, I would remember people by their, oh, that's the dude with the spark plug sleeve.
Mhm.
Oh, he's got the Harley tattoos. He's got the tribal. He's got the dragons. He's got the, I don't know your fucking name. You know, like, especially shotgun style, when you meet like 30 collectors at a street shop in passing and they're in different rooms and you're not really holding conversations, but you're still sharing that experience and you bump into them a couple more times.
It's kind of like, do you remember the first time we met Josh Short? We were actually in Cincinnati together. We were competing. We were all in the back tattoo competitions and he had just gotten worked on by Nick Baxter.
Yep.
Cut two, we've had him as a guest on the show for to talk a couple of times.
Yeah.
But he talked about Tattoo Saved My Life,
Mhm.
which is a pretty cool cause. But it's
Same
kind
with
it's
Tattoo
kind of,
Shrink. We met the Tattoo Shrink at a show too.
yeah, just hanging out
You know,
or standing on stage or like
naked, be
waiting in
vulnerable.
line, waiting in line for the competitions or just congregating around,
Right.
just like poking and seeing what other collectors have. And it's
I
pretty
met,
crazy how like we don't know each other's names at first, but by the time that we do, it's like, oh, you're the guy with such and such. I remember
Right,
meeting you.
right,
I
right.
didn't realize that was you. I remember.
Well,
Like,
and that's
you know.
that's the one vibe about the street shop that I love. When you were there, you got to know the other regulars. It was a social club. I mean that in the best way. And you could tell the people that were there for the trinket tattoo over the collector. And I met some of the most interesting people sitting there for hours. Especially you're there for the long haul tattoo, right? You're there for all day, and there's a lot of people coming in for one-ofs and like one session, So the person next to you goes through 2 or 3 clients so you met 3 people while you're sitting there, 3 different lifestyles, 3 different points of views.
Yep.
The highest
kind of the
ranking
thing.
military person I've ever met was at a tattoo shop. The highest ranking police officer that I probably shouldn't even talk about. I met at a tattoo studio, like a lot of
pretty
impressive
crazy.
people I've met sitting there just getting
That is a pretty cool privilege, quality tattoos are a thing of luxury. And when they are a thing of luxury, I hate to say it, but like
It's a different crowd.
I'm not saying that it's not something that isn't for everybody. And I'm not saying that like I think it's awesome that people like scrimp and save for tattoos and they're that important to them that it's worth like some people get a second job and that second job is their tattoo money.
Tattoo
Like
job.
it may be, a few days a week or a few hours here and there, or whatever it is. But like some people are that passionate, they give up large amounts of their time in order to save the money it takes to get tattooed. But then, you know, the people that can just afford,
Mhm.
once you can start charging premium prices, it kind of
The market's different.
the market is different. And I like to say I love tattooing grown-ups, but really what I'm saying about that is it's somebody that knows themselves. They have a little bit of culture, whatever that culture is.
Right.
Just as somebody
Right.
matures, they have a culture about them. And you know what I mean? Sometimes that culture is street, sometimes that
Whatever that
culture
is.
but they have a culture about them. They kind of understand how the world works and they understand the meaning going into and they understand what they're presenting by what they're putting on themselves. And
The
I feel
work
like
that you do now is more appropriate for that anyway, because you need people that are able to dedicate large portions of skin and able to dedicate large portions of time. Your forte is large format landscape right now. That's what you're focusing on, right?
Yeah.
So like you don't want to do a bunch of name bands. So like you need people that are willing and have the ability to sit and pay for 10, 12, 15
but the
sessions.
cool kind of people that land in my chair.
Oh yeah.
It blows my mind. So many of my clients, like I feel like I'm blessed that some of them come into my life because I learned so much from them. Like I give them as much as I can. They get to walk away with a piece of art. They get to walk away with the connection. They get to walk away with the experience. But for me, like there's hours and hours and hours that if I want to sit there and pick their brain just the same, like I can ask anything that I'm curious about, depending on who I'm working on,
Right.
or
Right.
when we talk about like high ranking a military, like one of my clients is a lieutenant colonel and we start talking and like name dropping and then like double checking things and it's like, you really do know. So it's one
Well-
of those like you see how little the world is. You get to see
You can-
what people are capable
Yeah.
of.
The Columbus Bacon game, especially in Columbus, to me is fun because once you I've done a lot of
Oh,
networking.
the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
It's 6 degrees of you and I, right? So we're in Columbus and you hang out in a certain crowd, the tattoo crowd, whatever, right? Oh, so you know Fawn? Oh, okay, I know Fawn, that type of thing, right? So, oh yeah, you used to get tattooed over at Sacred Skin, and then they went to okay, so I know this guy from there who oh yeah, so I remember Jim. Yes, dude, that guy was. It's such a small fucking circle
Yeah.
that you can link almost anybody
Well, and now because so many collectors are traveling to different shows and stuff, our circle is even, it's not just within the city, it's within different scenes that there's
Yeah.
this interconnectivity.
I thought about that when we were in Indiana. I think Jay's been on the show a bunch of times. I've held hour-long conversations with this guy, but the amount of time that we have spent in real life was way different than. And we were getting a coffee order together or going to get food, something along those lines. He's like, "I'll roll with you," and I didn't think anything of it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, bro, like let's run. And then really getting in the car, you're like, oh, like this is probably the first time we've ever not been in a tattoo convention together or on the
Yep.
air and it was not, I don't want to say weird, that's not the right word. It was very
Civilian
comfortable.
time. You were
it was
spending
very, like,
civilian time with one another.
We're in real life here, bud. We're just two dudes getting coffee right now. Like it's a different vibe. It's like when you hang out with your work friends outside of work. Not that this is work in any way, shape, or form, but like, you know,
I like my work friends outside of work.
same.
We've got a pretty cool work.
You
friends.
have a really cool job. You're pretty fortunate. Not all of us work at Red Tree Tattoo Gallery. Some of us work at Burger King, where 38% of the people are fucks. The other 15% of them are like, okay, you know. And then there's the people you actually hang out with.
Ben, I can't, I'm so fidgety in these chairs
I
today.
fucking hate them. Can I
These
just be
are-
real?
Well, they're the more comfortable option. We need to
Well,
get to the antique stores. and
hear me
find
out.
us some
Hear me out.
cool looking set chairs.
I just happened to take a very special lady to an antique store. Was it this week? Yeah, that was this week. Wow, time flies when you're having fun. And it was quite an adventure. We had a blast. It was right here on South High Street. It had a very like the antique ball name that I don't remember. It was multiple levels. It used to be a moose lodge or an elk's lodge at some point. More eras of things than I can even think to mention. More areas of things than I had the patience for. Lots of smalls. If you antique, you know what I mean. Lots of smalls. And it was different areas with different collectors and different collectors smalls.
Mhm.
They all had a few big pieces, but it was a lot of look at it.
Treasure hunt.
It took every ounce of my being not to purchase an accordion.
An accordion, Ben? I never had any idea that you felt so passionately about the
Hear me
instrument.
out. Hear me out. I kind of have always had this weird love for the accordion.
Okay.
Like the French petit gâteau, like the I
Okay.
fucking love it. I've multiple stations on my phone that are, I don't want to say accordion based, but
Okay, all right,
rock some chops, right?
all right.
And I look at this oversized typewriter box. And I'm like, what was that? It was like my inner child was like, bro, that's something you need in your life. You know what I mean? And that's what that place is all about. Can we be honest? That's what we're of the vintage now where everything in there isn't that old. If that makes sense. Where you can walk around and be like, oh, I had that.
Yeah.
Oh shit, we had that Tupperware. Oh my God, I owned this Carmen CD. Like
We're of the vintage.
that stuff is now floating around from our childhood in those type of shops, right? So it was a whole day of, oh my God, you know, like it was a lot of fun. But the thing that rang my bell was this accordion.
The accordion.
I don't know why it calls to me so hard, but this thing, I pop its top. It is orange in like a matte gray, not even matte gray, like a gunmetal gray bowling ball glitter bomb of an accordion that was beautiful. Full size, not a little guy.
If you got this accordion, would you play it for us?
I would not have a clue. Two things I don't do: pianos. And I don't know what the other push button part is at all.
I think it's like if you could imagine how a harmonica is, like depending on how.
It just
high
changes
up,
the reed set.
I believe.
So am
so.
I changing octaves on the because it's an 8-step, it's a 2-octave keypad, right?
I don't know more than that.
I just from looking at it. C to C. Yeah, it's 7 notes. So if you've got 14 keys, that's a 2-octave scale, right?
Well, suppose,
I just had to play the scale.
I don't know, but we gotta find some
Anyway.
quirky chairs. I would love to have a chair that would be like big enough that I could like just sit here like cross-legged with like a cup of hot chocolate in my hands. Coffee.
Then all of our shots would be the top of our heads. We
Yeah,
need some chair appropriate. Now I agree with you. I'm fat.
I want to be
and-
comfortable. I want to be able to like lean in close.
I touch both sides of this chair
I mean, I'm
Sitting
right there. too.
naturally,
Yeah,
to the pressure point to where like I leave with little el dentos in my
so
legs. So I'm not opposed to new
Kyle,
chairs.
let me ask your opinion. Do you think Ben and I should each find a chair that matches our own personality? Or do you think they should match?
Want to get the matching set.
You think they
Yeah.
should match?
I agree.
I feel like you'd get two vastly different chairs.
Could be
Hear,
part of
hear
it.
me out though. Symmetry makes my heart happy.
Okay.
Things that match make my heart happy. I often rock the jumpsuit because everything is,
What
you
if
know
I
what I mean?
found us 2 recliners like off of Fraser?
Couldn't do it, bro. You know how much we indulge? We would be like, so have you been to the casa recently? Have you seen the redesign of the living room?
Over the last few days,
Mm-hmm.
in the last week.
I put 2
Two
recliners,
recliners?
right? So
They get
like,
moved?
no, my thing is every time I sit in that chair, I fall asleep.
Ah.
7 minutes,
You know how my couch is.
my body is in that.
It does
go to
this thing
sleep
where
pose.
like you sit on it like a normal person and you're like,
No,
oh,
it
this is
slouches you
nice.
into it.
This is a coffee table in front of me, and the next thing you know, you're like stretched out long ways. You got a dog cuddling your feet, a cat purring you to sleep,
That's me petting a cat.
sucked right into it.
Asleep. So, I'm not saying we don't need something, but I think we should go on the hunt
Okay,
for a slight upgrade. My only request is that I don't touch both sides of the chair. Other than that, world's yours.
nice. Gives us a lot of opportunities.
Send us some options if you see some cool shit.
So back on track of tattoos, I had another question for you.
Well,
So I was just wondering if you could share your opinion of the pros and cons of being tattooed midsummer.
okay, so I think in the winter you heal slower. It's cold, your blood's not flowing as much. In the summer, you're vascularly open. I think that you're more active in the summer. I think there's less clothing to get in the way of your new freshly exposed tattoo. I think that they're easier to bandage, keep bandages, maintain a visual on it all day. Make sure you're not leaking type stitch, right? The reverse of that, sunshine and swimming pools.
Mm.
A lot of people's summers are based around those, or water. It doesn't even need to be swimming pools. Sunshine and water is a lot of people's summer blisses. So you know what I did today is I made sure I went and played in the water to get that out of my system. So over the next few days, I'm not like, gosh, dang it, I need to.
Shy,
I went and swam laps yesterday, today. Kayak. So over the next 3 or 4 days, I'm not so prone to go jump right back into the pool. Because we now need what? How long would you advise?
I mean, for the area we're gonna be working in, probably like 4 or 5 days.
So, fine. So yeah, like get it out your system. Be prepared to heal. A lot of people are like, oh, well, we'll Sanoderm it, and I'll swim with Sanoderm on it.
My
Man,
plans are actually like going out of town, weird travel situation, weird vacation situation, but if you're local, if you can just keep it covered.
might
I'm actually a fan of while your tattoo is fresh even, like the whole first summer of your tattoo, like I recommend actually wearing a sheer covering, like a sheer t-shirt, a sheer something.
Hear me
Rather
out.
than putting anything on it, like actually just physically cover it,
I-
keep it protected.
I'm in the why risk it
Yeah,
category. We just talked about the financial commitment to most tattoo sessions now. If you are spending day rate money to get tattooed, regardless of what level that is a financial commitment. And now you think the 2 hours all day, the one day that you're going to play in the water is worth risking your lifetime tattoo and how it looks.
Yep.
Cool. You put Saniderm on. You jumped in and your leg wiggled weird. Oh, I was only gonna, and then the side busted open and now it's flooded with
What?
lake water.
and it was a river.
I'm just saying things happen, Fawn.
I mean, the artist jumped off the bridge right behind me.
I'm not saying everyone has good influences. I was once in a hot tub.
Were you with us on that trip?
Yes, I was. I was once in a hot tub with a gentleman who I watched get his face tattooed earlier that day. And this wasn't just like a little baby little trinket guy. This was a motherfucking king cobra on this dude's eye socket that came all the way down his fucking neck and face. And you know where he was that evening?
Are you talking about Flip Shades?
Yes, in the swimming pool.
Are you talking about Phoenix?
Got dang swimming pool face tatties.
Well,
I'm sure he packed it full of Vaseline or something. Don't get me wrong, but it was
I
one of
bet
those
not.
like
I bet
You
his wrist
sat.
Just jumped in.
you sat all day. And I get it. Some people are about that life. Like, whatever, fuck it. And that's cool. You do you, homie. I ain't mad at you. But me, if I sat at a convention all day and got my face tattooed and sat through that, chlorine would be the furthest thing from my mind. But again, some people are just about that life. Fuck it. It's what we're doing. No, it's pool day. I don't get that. My face gets got tattooed. And that's a whole nother vibe. And that's a whole nother gig. And I'm proud of you for living you. But me, I'm out.
Howdy.
I'm out of 5,000. I spent a half of life savings. I would rather not regret the chlorine fade of my new tattoo in 6 weeks.
I'd be all right.
You're just gonna do it again.
It'd be all right.
Just we'll touch it up later.
Yeah, I tell the clients it's different for every tattoo, every area, every artist, but like, as your tattoo heals, you get to the point where it's pretty much done peeling and it's shiny. As long as there are no cracks or scabs, basically once it gets to that shiny phase where it's just a new layer, like the whole top layer is sealed with that shiny new baby skin, then it's healed enough to go in the water. Is it totally healed? No, your skin is still peeling underneath the surface. However, it is sealed and everything is. There's an internal and an external, and now you have a healthy barrier.
It
Once you
also
get
has
the
a lot
point
to
that
do with what
break
you
that
do when you
barrier.
get out of that water. Regardless if it's a swimming pool, a lake, a pond, a flowing river, the crystal clearest mountain water that flows, whatever. Get out and wash that fucking thing.
Yeah, always be safe.
Even
Like,
if it's been a week, get
Yeah.
out and wash it because you need to remove all those chemicals from that fresh skin that hasn't had time to adjust and harden and grow. So get out and clean it. Take a shirt.
baby it, just generally
Take a
baby it.
shirt. Dump some lotion on it when you're done.
But yeah, if there are any cracks, if there's any scabs, if there's anywhere that like is still weepy and tattoo feeling, then don't go swimming yet.
Yeah.
And like I said, it varies every tattooer, every location, I've got clients where the majority of our sessions heal in 4, 5, 6 days, and then we'll work on an ankle and it takes 2.5
Yep.
weeks to even get comfortable.
Well, it has a lot to do with your activity level and how much that part moves. And if somebody's job is 9 to 5 behind a desk, as opposed to somebody's job who works in a warehouse, who is bendy, movie, picking things up, carrying, moving, walking, your tattoos have different stretches and feels and heal times. Even that, I'm not saying one is better than the other. Sometimes keeping a tattoo a little bit mobile has a little bit better to heal than I completely immobilize it and now it's dry and cracky. And every time I move, I feel like I'm breaking it back up. It can go both ways. You can fuck it up both ways.
Yep.
But my point is, everybody different. watch your skin, pay attention to your body, listen to yourself, listen to your body. It's going to tell you what it needs. If you're dry, add lotion.
Do you get poison ivy?
No.
Okay,
Now that I say that,
I don't believe I get it either, but I saw friends post, she gets it very easily and she has it all over.
she have dry skin naturally.
Not really, she's just sensitive.
Would you?
Anyways,
Yep, there it is.
um,
People with sensitive skin generally have a drier skin or a less oily skin. People like myself that carry a natural layer of goop on the outside of their skin,
the
when
oil
another
doesn't seep in as
oil
easily.
comes in contact with it, your natural barrier of oil
This makes
keeps it
perfect
off of you.
sense.
When you have a dry or an absorbent skin, something that when you brush up a different oil, your skin's like,
It's funny because I was like scrolling, I was like, it looks like that foot that I did, sure enough.
and more sensitive skin has a tendency to be irritated faster, and things to spread further because it's more irritated. You're doing more to it. So yeah, everybody different. What else?
Pros, cons. I don't know, we've been going for about 2 hours.
Let's
Talk
hit it.
About some upcoming stuff.
I think Derb's coming back.
Yeah, Kyle was telling me that Derb wants to do tattoo IQ again.
Yep,
So,
he was talking to me about that a couple weeks ago.
yep, in the very near future, we'll get that set up. We'll see if we can get all the back end, make it like a legitimate game show for the night.
I think that'd be a lot of fun. I almost kind of want to get a panel of participants to
That's a
chime
really good
in,
idea.
as opposed to trying to have live studio audience chime
I
in.
bet we could do like Wes, Chris, maybe another person.
If we can do
fun.
even just Wes and Chris battle them against each other with Tattoo IQ would be a lot of
That would be
fun.
fun. That would be
And
super
that
fun.
would keep it super simple. Or anyone, a senior Knuckles
Mhm.
and Chris would be an amazing.
Yeah, we should bounce these ideas.
so-
around and let them develop. So Tattoo IQ is gonna be coming back.
I am specifically mentioning people that I know are heavy into tattoo history, tattoo lineage, and that's kind of what Tattoo IQ is about. Is Derb wants to put tattoo related history questions, machine equipment related questions. What settings should you run for? Those very industry specific history style of
That's another
questions.
title.
What?
Tattooer with a sign.
Oh yeah, Teddy would have but if you know anybody that it fits that mold, somebody that is heavy into the history, generally probably has a sleeve of traditional work somewhere. But like somebody like that, feel free to shoot them into our inbox or to whomever receives that information for
Yeah.
us.
Instagram's
And-
probably the easiest way to get in touch with us. We're
Send
all
us a
logged
message.
into the tattoo collecting Instagram page.
Yep.
So are you not?
No.
Oh, well, you can be. Would you like to be?
Sure.
Anyways,
Uh,
so that's probably the easiest way to reach out to us
Yeah.
to make sure that we see it.
I think we could do battle royale style. If you win, you can join us again, and then when we play on the next show, we bring the reigning champ back, and then maybe we could turn this into a thing where we could donate some supplies, or maybe have some sort of prize, or
Correctly, I think that's how things went last time.
I don't know, and I don't want to speak on what or if, but that'd be good. Maybe we should figure that out.
Yep, we'll get that together. Make it a little bit more sophisticated. It'd be cool to have the occasional episode that's a game like that, or maybe pull a segment like that into every episode.
I think it gives us a reason to reach out to our industry friends that may have been on the show before. I don't want to say that we don't have a reason to have them back on, because I'll talk to any of them anytime. But I love a reason to reach out. Hey,
Yep. I really want to reach out to Ink Shrink and get him back on. He's been hitting a lot of shows pretty heavily. Tony has been taking awards left and right.
he has. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, yes. His page is fun to watch. I
Yeah,
enjoy
love
his
Tony.
content.
Tony's
So what
content.
you're saying is we need to hunker down and do a booking session.
Maybe.
Maybe
yes.
do a contact
Yeah.
list and
We
try
should
to
have
try to
everybody.
get some people.
You know, I was just
lined
thinking
up.
After talking about the tattooers and then the collectors, what if we did tattoo IQ, but collectors versus tattooers? Would that be too much? If
I
we did,
think it
like,
would be a
3 and
hard-
3?
I think it would be a hard medium to balance, because I feel like with Tattoo IQ, what Derb is looking for is very industry specific. I'm not saying there's
That's
not
fair.
collectors out there that don't have that knowledge,
That's
and there
fair.
might be a few to blow us out of the water. But most people that are super nerds in that
They're in
specific
the
genre
industry,
are
yeah.
industry related mofos. So if you can drum up the collectors that think they have more knowledge than Chris Taylor, Wes, or Joey Knuckles, feel free because like anybody
That's
that
fair.
knows those three gentlemen know that they can give you dates and shops and lineage.
Yeah,
and
they're all about their tattoo
they
industry
love it,
in
and that-
particular.
it makes me smile. And that's just the hometown homies that I know. And there's those guys for every state. There's the, you know what I mean? Like, so
So
Let's reach
next
out.
week, I will have some nice footage from the Tattoo Collectors Expo.
should be good.
Yep, I'm actually really excited. It's been a long time since I've been to a show like outside of our circuit
Right.
of shows, like our,
See something
like I
different.
keep saying the Midwest. We did some Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, which is like quite Midwest, but
Still, still,
stay pretty local-ish. So I'm really excited to jump into whole nother
scene.
network, I guess.
Yeah,
Scene,
it's a whole
whole
other
nother
scene.
It's definitely gonna be a lot of artists that I do know and a lot of names I do recognize, but the whole circuit and feel is gonna be different. I
Love
already
it.
know,
Love it.
but
Well,
Kyle's showing off some of the different artists that are gonna be there.
nice. Bring me back something cool.
Yeah, cool footage.
Yeah, she said I am. Footage.
Yeah. But yeah, it'll be great. I'm pretty stoked about it.
Well, I guess stay tuned for cool shit to come.
New, bigger, better things,
Always.
Yeah.
We always are steadily trucking.
little improvements. You
At
know.
some point, this thing's gonna be all professional as fuck, and we're gonna be like, what
Thanks to
happened?
Kyle, he does a lot. Derp gave us a pretty awesome stage to use.
He did. He did.
I mean,
This
there's
giant fucking
actually a ton
background
of
helps.
teamwork that goes into this. Like when we talk about gratitude, like pretty rad thing. Like I feel like I could put more time into it, but all along I've always said it was gonna be a 1 day a week project.
Right.
So I don't know, a 1 day a week. I think it's gonna have to start being 2 days a week. Kicking around, getting together on like Tuesdays and
Right.
like kind of getting stuff set up ahead of time, but. You know, or we could get
People-
together Thursday.
People don't
Wednesday,
understand how
Tuesday.
much orchestration it takes to line up guests and schedules. And I mean, most tattoo artists are booked a couple months out.
Mm-hmm.
So for them to grace us with their time, and I mean that in the most fucking respectful way.
Some
It's a
people
big
join us in the
request.
evening.
They don't make money to be here. It's not like
Yeah.
we're handing out cash. So everybody that shows up for us, I mean, is
They
an
they
amazing.
make time
amazing
in their
commitment.
schedule. Some people, they'll put family stuff on pause or, all the things.
Means a lot to
But
us.
it is kind of like right there in the dinner time kind of
Yeah,
slot.
it is
So
too.
we always are starving by the end of the show. We usually have a habit of eating beforehand, but then we're still starving at the end. It's probably munchies.
That's true.
Anywho. Kyle,
Well-
can you think of anything we need to add before we wrap up?
Not that I can think of.
Good
Well,
job, Kyle.
Well,
Well,
everybody,
hasta
thanks for
luego.
watching. Tune in next week. See ya.